Morning everyone. I thought I'd do a couple of old school videos, so there's probably going to be about 3 or 4 of these, and they're going to be super simple cards. So I thought I'd just take a step back from, you know, loads of colouring, loads of detail, loads of all that kind of stuff, and just take it right back to the beginning when I first started and just made really super simple cards but still look very, very cool. So I'm using Stampin' Bella's stamps today, and I've got the Oddball Mummy, which I think is hysterical, of course, and the Oddball Naughty Pumpkins. So those are the 2 I'm going to use today, as well as the sentiment that's in this stamp set. And what I've done here, I've done a lot of prep work. So I've got a card base that measures 8.5 by 5.5, and we're going to score it at 4.25. And this is just some Nina heavyweight cardstock. So this is the £110, I believe. So I'm just going to score that, and it's a nice weight for a card base. So that's done there. And then I have a layer of, this is some Stampin' Up! Crushed Curry cardstock, and I've just embossed with a dry embossing folder. This is it's one of the Tim Holtz stripes. I don't know if you can see that. It's sort of like they're not super straight, they're not straight lines, they're sort of distressed stripes, but I can't remember the exact name. I've had it for years, so that's another way to add some texture in without really doing anything to your card. You know, is to just add some texture with an embossing folder. And I tend to forget my embossing folders. Not on purpose, but I tend to forget that I've got them or to use them. So because this is an embossing, it's been embossed, I'm just going to add some wet adhesive and some, if you use the dry adhesive, just add some to the middle as well, just so that it does warp a little bit when you've embossed. And this piece measures 5.25 by 4 inches. So if I just get that somewhat in the middle. And when you emboss, it will also, shrink is the wrong word, but it'll also, you'll notice it'll be slightly smaller, because it's sort of, by embossing, it's changing the paper, and it's sort of breaking the fibres up, and it's, you know, so it does look a little bit like it's slightly smaller than it should be on here. But it's fine. It's your handmade card. Right. So then I have an oval, and I just guessed. This is some Stampin' Up! Basic black cardstock, and it's just an oval, stitched oval from Lawn Fawn that I've used, and that's just going to go in the middle there. I don't know whether I want to pop that up as well. Not sure if I want to pop that up. Let's have a look. Right, so I'm going to just leave that there for a second. And then I also have my little, these are the images that I've stamped and then cut out with my Brother Scan and Cut. So I'm going to leave them black and white. This is again going back to very simple, this is like a mini series if you like, of very simple crafting, and I thought I'd use it in my Halloween series. So just keep them black and white. There's nothing wrong with that. Sort of a more monochromatic look. So there's a couple of pieces, because of the Scan and Cut I had to draw some pencil lines in so that it could see the outline, just because there's so much detail on these images, but I'm so impressed with how they cut out. So I'm just going to rub those pencil lines out and figure out where I'm going to put my sentiment, although I think I have an idea of where I'm going to put that already, but I'll be back in a second. Right, so I'm just going to quickly, with some vintage photo, of course, it wouldn't be me if I didn't vintage photo the world and its mother, so I'm going to just take a bit of that around the edges here, and that just lifts that whole image. So if you're doing this sort of black and white monochromatic kind of thing, look at the difference that makes just by adding some colour like that, instead of actually colouring the images in. You could colour the images in. I mean, I did that on one of the other Stampin' Bella ones that I've done. But you don't have to. You can. This is about simple crafting, you know, especially if you're out of ideas or you've got to make like a billion cards. Maybe not necessarily for Halloween, but maybe that's, you know, something you want to do now. I've probably got some ink on here. I forgot to do the edge of this, so I'm just going to take this and just go around the edge of the whole card, and that will just edge it. I've just turned it right into that ink, so if the back has some ink on it, it's okay. This is handmade, remember? Yeah. Oh, not bad. A little bit. Right, just clean that up. And then what I think I'm going to do is going to set these out roughly where I want them. I kind of want her to be sort of in the patch. So I had this vision that she'd be standing behind them like so. Something like that. I might have to have it off to the side though, just because I want to do my sentiment. I'll just grab that. Right, so the sentiment is not going to be straight because that's the design. So I have some Versamark here, but not Versamark, Versafine. But I'm actually going to use Versacolor in Ultimate, no, in white, and see whether I can get that to stamp nicely. And if not, it's Halloween, so it's okay if it's a little bit messed up, you know? It's not the end of the world. So I've got these guys roughly where I want them. I'm just going to eyeball this. That works. And you can just see if I can get them. Trick or treat. So now I can put this on my card. And that is a pigment ink, so it will take a little bit of time to dry. So I think I'm going to just stick this one flat to the card base. Just like so. And again, I've put enough adhesive on there so that it's not going to pop up, because obviously you're also adhering to texture. So just make sure you've got enough adhesive on there. So that's that one. And then for these I'm going to, well, I think she'll go flat and then I'll pop up the pumpkins. Say that 3 times fast. Pop up the pumpkins. Yeah, I think I'm losing it. Right, so she's going to go about there. And that looks cute. Right, oh. And then I'm just going to use some pop dot dimensionals, whatever you want to call them. And I think I said in another video that I do use like 1,000 of these things, because I have this fear that my things are going to fall apart. So apologies, there's like a billion over here. I'll just get all these little backers off if I can. Right, and then I'm just going to pop this one let's see where I want them. Will that work? That looks good. Let's do it there. And there's a very simple card. That's the idea behind this. Super simple. My sentiment is a little off now because I should have probably laid this out on the card to see where placement of the sentiment would go, but it still looks cute. You can still add a little couple of gems or something like that if you wanted to. That's how you sort of build your cards up from there. But I think it's kind of cute. So, or if that really bothers me, I can then put another little strip over here with the sentiment and just sort of stick it on there. But I might just add a couple of like Nouveau drops or something like that on there. But there you go. The first of I think 4 super simple cards. So there you go, guys. Happy Halloween. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you want to see more from me. And I will see you in the next one, guys. Bye.